Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to my show, the end of summer, this beautiful Tuesday afternoon in downtown Burbank. I am Balanced Life with me, your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle, and I'm conversations that basically connect to a healthier you. I have a great show for you today. I'm real excited about it. But before we get started, I want to remind you that I like to have interactive conversations. So if you have a comment or a question for myself or my guest today, you can call into the show. So make note of this number. We're here at 323-843-2826, and you can call in anytime, ask a question, interrupt us. We welcome it. Also, streaming live on my Facebook page at Fit by Design, there's a place for comments or questions, and we can always get to you at post-show, so you can go there. It says Fit by Design to access, but then it says Balanced Life. Long story. But anyway, you can access that there. So our show today is all about passion and wellness. And so oftentimes I hear from my clients and beyond that they just don't have time to fit in a workout, or that they're always eating on the go. Well, today is living proof that you can do it all. Talk about living your passion. My guest today was able to accomplish just that with a successful music career and his commitment to staying fit and healthy no matter what or where life puts you. Claude McKnight is the founding member and of the renowned singing a cappella group Take Six. As a member of a musical family, Claude at an early age discovered his passion for music and established an ear for singing harmonies. Although music wasn't his only passion, basketball and staying fit was a huge priority as well. The fact that Take Six is the most awarded singing group in history keeps Claude on the road most of the year, which can certainly be challenging to one's overall health. Today, we're going to find out how this Superman of sorts is juggling the impressive demands of a music career and still lives a healthy, happy, active lifestyle, one in which he says anyone can do no matter what your circumstance or age. So will you please help me in welcoming my guest today, Claude McKnight. There's our audience. They're here. They're listening and they're clapping, and we just patch it in.
There we go.
Hi, Claude.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for coming today.
It's my pleasure.
You know, I'm so lucky because I got you in this little slot because you're out of here tonight.
I'm flying out tonight.
And you're going where?
I'm going to New York City.
For how long?
I'll be there for 5 nights with my group at the Blue Note Jazz Club.
Okay, hear that, New York audience? If
Come
you
on
want to,
out.
yeah, we'll revisit that at the end of the show, because you've only been home like 4 days, like 3 days.
Yeah, we were in where were we? Japan, China, and then Hawaii. And it was
I don't know how you keep it straight.
It was quite the trip. We left actually from Japan to China. We left at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning and got to China at 8 o'clock Saturday morning.
Oh, okay. So you gained some
Yeah.
time there,
We
which
did
we
a
all
little
need
bit
to
of
do
time
at this
travel.
age, right?
Right,
Yeah, a little
exactly.
time traveling.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cute. That's so funny. Mm-hmm. So I like to dig into, that's where you are today, but I want to dig into how you got to where you are today, because you are quite an accomplished musician in your own right, and in addition to the group. And there's a great backstory, and I want my audience to hear it. So tell me a little bit about where you were from and what brought you into the music world.
Well, I was born in New York.
Okay.
And then I was born in the city, and then we moved to Buffalo, New York. And my grandparents lived there. So, my parents were young parents, and by that time they had 3 kids.
Okay. So were you all boys?
Oh, it's 4 boys.
4 boys,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your brother is?
My youngest brother is Brian McKnight.
Brian McKnight,
So he's
right.
also obviously in the music business.
Yes.
So I'm the oldest, Brian's the youngest, and between us are Fred, who's right under me, and Michael.
Okay. Are you all musical, all 4 of you?
Yeah. So we had a quartet growing up. And so
Okay.
we sang in church all the time. And that's, pretty much how we got our musical chops.
And your grandfather was like in charge of the
He was
choir.
the choir director
Yeah.
at the choir in Buffalo. So everybody pretty much came through that choir.
Yeah.
That's how you learned harmony. That's how you learned how to get along with other members of a singing group.
Which is very important.
Yeah, and which is, from seeing him is how I decided I wanted to start a group once I got to college.
And it was really a conscious thing on your part to do that when you got old enough to be in the music business, and because you tried to play an instrument for a while, or you do play instruments.
I do play an instrument.
Yeah.
It wasn't a conscious decision. What happened was I was a trombone player, and I wanted to go to school for orchestration and have, a really great band program. But interestingly enough, the school I ended up going to, which was a small Christian school in Huntsville, Alabama, my parents went there, my uncles, aunts, and everybody didn't have a really good band program.
Oh,
and I knew this going in.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go anyway to kind of...
The legacy of the family.
Absolutely.
Keep it, yeah.
So what I did was, once I got there, part of the legacy of that school was all of these amazing a cappella groups.
Ah.
And so as a freshman, I started a quartet.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. So you are the founding member. It was your idea. And the harmonizing part, you learned that in church, really, growing up anyway,
Well,
right?
in church as well as in our family, because our extended family, there's a lot of people who sing.
Yeah.
And so, we would have family reunions and everybody would be teaching each other
I love
harmonies.
that. So
and
there was
playing
always
and-
music
Oh,
at
always.
all of your family
yeah.
get-togethers.
Music, eating, and crying.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, those things are life. That's
Yes.
what fills a family up, right? Music in itself can fill a person up, but when you do it as a family, that's just a win-win all the way around.
Yeah.
Wow. So you got in college and were you studying music at all?
Yes, I was a music major
Okay.
and a psychology minor.
Oh,
And
they go together.
They go together very, very well, especially having a group.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So again, because I didn't really know what to do with the band program, I kind of let that go. Even though I can still play the trombone, I haven't really played it seriously in many years.
Yeah.
So I took theory and composition and all the things that you take as a music major without really knowing what I wanted to do with it, But I knew for some reason the group thing was really working, and we added a 5th member, then the 6th member, and we became that group on campus.
How did you find, from the music department, did you find the other guys? Because
No.
some of the original guys are still...
There's one guy who could be considered an original guy. He became the 5th member.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so of that original quartet, I'm the only person.
Okay. But the guys that you originally found in college, did you audition them or?
Not originally.
No.
No, it was just, again, there were so many people at that college who sang, you could basically say, hey man, what part do you sing? And if he was a second tenor, you're like, okay, we need a second tenor. Or, man, I've heard your voice, you're a bass, why don't you sing with me? And so it just kind of started like that.
And you just started. And at the time, were you covering other songs from other artists, or were you doing original content?
Well, what we were doing, because it was a Christian college, we were doing a lot of old spirituals and things like that. And there were other groups that we looked up to that we grew up listening to.
Yeah.
So we would do their songs. There was a group called the Breath of Life Quartet, which is a Seventh-day Adventist quartet.
Oh, okay.
And that's the school that we went to was Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh,
so
all right.
they were our heroes, So
Yeah.
we would learn those songs, and all of the quartets probably had at least a few of their songs. So anytime there was, some kind of program on campus, you had 4, 5, 6, 10 different groups all singing from that same songbook.
So it was conducive to that
Absolutely.
for you to keep going. So once you graduate, now in college, did you play basketball too? Because you were overlapping you were thinking about being an athlete. You wasn't sure which direction you were going to go in.
In high school, I played all sports.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of offers coming out of high school. But of course, I wanted to, follow that legacy and go to the school that my parents went to,
Right.
which didn't have
An athletic
a basketball
pro.
team.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So all of a sudden, no band program, no real basketball team. And so, that kind of led into wanting to study psychology and everything else. So.
Yeah. And then but the fitness thing was a big part. When did that start kicking in for you? I mean, obviously being an athlete, that's a fitness thing, but when did it kick in for you when you weren't playing the sport regularly, like basketball or another sport, that you realized you had to exercise to keep well?
Okay, here's the thing. I was always an athlete, and I was always really skinny growing up.
And tall.
And so when you're young, you don't really think about it. You're just doing all the things that the coach tells you to do, and you have this amazing metabolism. And so none of that was an issue.
That's why I'm asking.
And it really didn't become an issue for me literally until sometime in my 30s. And even then it wasn't an issue because I was still slim. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to gain weight. So I started lifting weights, and my brother Michael is a trainer, one of my younger brothers.
Oh, there you go.
And so finally I was like, hey man, I would like to try to do this. And he was the most amazing trainer because he was patient. It didn't matter how strong or weak I was at the time, because I knew that I had many starts and stops.
Yeah.
Where you try it for a few days or a week or two or whatever, and it doesn't really become habit yet.
No.
And you don't see the results you want right away.
No, it's a good few months, 4 months.
Yeah.
And that depends on the frequency that you're at it.
Absolutely. But
So
he
it could be
was such a
frustrating.
great trainer that, interestingly enough, I saw some amazing results in the first month.
Wow,
Good. I went
because
from
you were pretty
I went from like
committed.
174 pounds up to 195.
All
in
muscle.
like a month.
Yeah, doing muscle. Good.
was
So you were
crazy.
doing something right, and you
Yes.
saw, and then you sort of get on that fit train that says,
Well, it's a lifestyle then.
It's a lifestyle, and that's how you create a lifestyle over habit over a period of time, which is a lot of what we talk about here when I do these shows. So now going back, so you have that started up, but you also were singing. You had your group. Were you performing professionally right
Yes.
out of college?
Not right out of college, but we got our first deal, and our first album came out when I was 25, 26.
Okay.
So I was still, very young.
How many albums do you have now, by the way? Wow. 16, I think I read.
16 or 17, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it depends on, what you count, because we have like best of. And,
Oh,
stuff
right.
like that.
Okay, so some overlap. Yeah,
So
gotcha.
quite a few. But yeah, I think once we really started traveling, and it started right away. So I've been traveling now for almost 32 years.
Oh my gosh.
We're
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah,
How
and
you-
no matter how fit you are, you have to really understand how to pace yourself. You have to drink water. You have to get rest. Because my instrument is my voice. And that's a muscle
Correct.
as well.
Absolutely.
So the more fit my body is, typically the better in shape my voice
The
is
better
as well.
musician you are, the better singer you are. Of course, that makes so much sense. So you, I mean, with the travel and the fitness, how do you balance that? What do you set? Now it's habit, I'm sure, but in the beginning, once you got sort of to the body that you were trying to manifest and build, and you got into the habit, and then all of a sudden you're back on the road again. Was it kind of trial and error on how you were going to be able to maintain what you felt was important to you and to stay healthy and well?
I think the trial and error, and that's a great question. I think the trial and error happens gradually as you get older, especially as you're traveling.
Yeah,
because
things slow down as we get older.
things
Anyway,
slow down, but
anyway.
not just that. Because when I was younger, I just wanted to be bigger.
More muscular,
bulky,
body,
things
of
like
a
that.
bodybuilder.
And then I realized into my, mid to late 30s or whatever, and certainly into my 40s, that being bulkier didn't really suit my body well, especially as far as the travel was concerned.
Right.
My ligaments, my tendons, all of those kinds of things. I'm like, man, I just don't feel like me. Because remember, I grew up being very slim.
Yeah.
So
so suddenly you have sort of extra stuff to carry around, and it's extra pressure on your joints and your ligaments,
Yes.
especially if you're carrying around luggage and equipment or anything. You feel the difference from what you were used to.
Yeah, especially when you are used to what makes sense for your body type.
I agree with you 100%.
And as I'm in my 50s now and going into my late 50s, it's all about being lean. I don't want to be bulky at all. I want to just have nice, good, healthy, lean muscle mass.
Yeah.
And that takes the right kind of eating. That obviously takes a lot of the right kind of rest that we've already talked about, and the right kind of exercise. And it's completely different now for me as far as my weight training than it was in my 40s and certainly in my 30s.
Absolutely. You have to adjust. I'm writing a book called Age Young, and this book is based on longevity with quality, but what we have to do to compensate as we age. And it doesn't mean that you have to give up everything, and it doesn't mean you have to, it's the way of adjust. I call it an adjustment. I don't want to say that you're ending something or changing something even, but you do have to adjust things because it is about longevity with quality, and you don't want to lose that. And if you overdo, you have, it becomes counterproductive.
Yes.
It bounces back to you in a negative way. So, and I've seen that because of being in this industry. I've
lived that.
Yeah. So
I told somebody just the other day, we haven't talked about this, but I'll bring it up. So I've had 2 knee surgeries.
I was going to ask you about
both
that.
on my left knee, 2 meniscus surgeries.
Is that from being an athlete your
yes.
whole life?
And yeah. Both happened
did
from
you
playing
tear?
basketball.
Okay.
And one was in 2007, and the next one was in 2010. So I was already old enough that it didn't heal like if I was in my 20s.
No.
Or if I had the ability to be off the road and really rehab it.
Yeah,
correctly.
and really rehab it right.
So as I get older,
You have to be aware.
I have found not only being aware, but there's sometimes when I have to stay in rehab mode and understand how important stretching is.
Absolutely.
How important. Just the other day, I said to somebody, I know my body so well that if I do too much, it hurts. If I don't do enough, it hurts. So there's a place in there, not just, it's the balance. It's that sweet spot where this is just right.
Yeah.
'Cause I still play basketball 2-3 days a week.
Yeah, and I still play tennis, and like you, my knees went out, and rather than have the surgery, I pulled back, and I got into the whole biking spin scene, which is what happens to a lot of us athletes who can't pound the pavement literally anymore. And I'm back at tennis, but I'm being smarter about it.
Yeah.
In my 60s, I have to be. And with the injuries, you have to be. And that's the thing about awareness of our bodies. You said something. You listen to your body. And that's huge, everybody, in this world of health and well-being is we know best for us. There isn't any one doctor or one person that says, this is the way everybody this age does it, because that's not true. Everybody has a different background. You were an athlete, so your body is already prepped for certain things, as well as mine.
That's right.
It's tuned, but the awareness of what it's capable of during every situation, every change that you're going through, whether you're traveling and lack of sleep, you understand how you have to compensate. And let's talk about what you've done because, I'm assuming not everywhere you go has a gym. Do you stay mostly in hotels or?
We stay always in hotels. And you're right, not every place has a gym, but that's not an excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
There are some days when I decide to work out and it's just core. And I can do that on the floor in my room.
Yeah, that's right.
I can do push-ups. I can do sit-ups. I can do anything that moves. And that's what I say to people all the time. Just move. And it doesn't have to be 2 hours a day.
No.
It can literally be 10, 15 minutes at a time.
Absolutely true. It's what you do in that time that can make the difference. That is maximizing your genetic potential based on what you do during that time, I think is important. And that's what I love, and that's why I wanted you on the show, because you're such living proof of that, your passion for staying well in spite of, how many days out of the year do you think you're on the road?
Typically somewhere between probably 110, 120 or 30 or so.
Okay. So
it's a third of the year.
Yeah, it's a third of the year. And it's mixed up. So it's not like you get big, spaces where you're 6 months at home.
Right.
And how with the sleep part, because I think, diet, exercise, and sleep, 3 most important. They're the big bullet points, and then everything kind of comes under that in the Balanced Self-Care magazine. But how do you balance that with different time zones and all of that? What is it? What's your secret?
As far as sleep is concerned, I've been really blessed to be able to sleep any time of day or night or on planes, trains, automobiles.
I know, I hate you.
So that really does help
Yeah.
for me anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people where I don't really have a regimen. I'm not like, okay, I've got to sleep at this time of day so that my body switches over to this time zone. I'm like, if I'm sleepy, I will go to sleep then.
Okay.
As long as I am rested for my shows, that's what's most important.
Right, because
You
you've
know?
got to be,
Yeah.
100%
Yeah,
on
the audience
for that.
doesn't know what's going on with you. They just came there to, expect a great show.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So if you get tired and you're on the road, do you say, if you're in a rehearsal or something, you say, let's take a rest and we'll
Absolutely.
come back to this? So do you guys rehearse a lot, I imagine?
We
Or-
used to rehearse a lot.
Yeah,
Now we don't all live in the same place.
yeah.
And I think because we've been doing this so long, unless we're learning something new, our sound checks or the time that we're together on the road become the rehearsals.
Okay.
You know?
So then your playlist, that change based on the venue, based on the amount of
Yes.
time? And so you all kind of plan on
Yeah.
but you know,
Yeah, we have a core group of songs that we probably sing, at every show.
right.
And then we switch things out, especially
Okay.
if we need to learn some new things from a new project. Or depending, like you said, it could be a festival, it could be a jazz thing, it could be a church thing. So there's certain songs
Adjust.
that you have to adjust for.
Do you have a road manager? Somebody,
absolutely.
who keeps you on
Yes.
target and keeps you going. So how long has the group you're with now been together, this group?
So this group has had 2 changes in the 32 years. The most recent change was our baritone who came in 15 years ago. So he's the new guy, so to speak.
Oh, and that's 15 years ago.
Right.
So you guys, for the last 15 years, it's been the
Yeah, we've
same
been family for a
core
long time.
of 6 guys for the last. So I imagine you guys know each other really well. Can you
Yes.
give a shout out to everybody in your group and name them
Yeah. So
and what they sing?
absolutely. So obviously I'm Claude. I sing the first tenor in the
Okay.
group, so I'm not the highest voice, even though obviously my speaking voice isn't high at all.
Yeah.
Right underneath me is Mark Kibble. And Mark Kibble also sings first tenor, but it would kind of be, the part right underneath mine.
Right.
Mark is also the primary arranger of the group. Mark also has 11 Grammys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and why is that for?
Well, because Mark also won a Grammy for something that we did with him that he arranged, but he
Okay.
got it in the arranging category.
And that was how
yeah.
he
So
was.
we have 10, he has 11.
Okay, there you go.
Shout out to Mark.
Oh, my
He's
gosh.
killing the game.
Yeah.
So right underneath Mark is David Thomas.
Okay.
And David Thomas sings second tenor.
Okay.
He's also a pretty amazing arranger. In fact, we did an arrangement of Christopher Cross's Sailing.
I love that song. I'm a product of the 70s,
Yeah, there you go.
I was working in
and
nightclubs.
that song was number 1 for 5 weeks on Heart and Soul Radio on Sirius XM.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. Just-
So right under him is Joey Kibble, who is Mark Kibble's younger brother.
okay, I was going to say.
And Joey came into the group, I want to say 28, 29 years ago.
Oh, that's
so he
crazy.
was the one who was the first change.
Okay.
So, but he's been in almost 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy how long you guys have been at this.
Right.
That's a lovely.
Yeah, so he's second tenor as well. And then under him is our baritone, and that's Christian Dentley. And he replaced Dr. Cedric Dent. And that was 15 years ago.
Okay, so he's the newest.
The newest guy.
member, even
Yeah.
though it's not that new.
And so I'll shout out to both of them because Cedric, and I said he's doctor, he has a PhD in music theory, and he teaches at MTSU,
Okay.
which is in Tennessee.
in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So all of you guys live where? Are they all LA
Well,
based?
I missed one guy.
Okay.
So,
Oh, sorry.
So the bass is Alvin Chia,
Okay.
and he lives out here, and he has been with us for 34 years.
Oh,
So yeah, he's one of what you would probably consider one of the original guys as far as the 6 are concerned.
yeah.
So he and David and Cedric, who's gone, came in once we decided we wanted to have a sextet.
Yeah.
So, but to get to your question about where everybody lives, 3 of us are in LA.
Okay.
Myself, Alvin, and David. tour in Nashville. That's Mark and Joey Kibble.
Oh, the Kibbles. Okay.
And Christian Dentley's in Orlando, Florida.
So when you guys travel like this, boom, you all just converge
we
on.
meet where we're going.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then get together and check out your venue or whatever,
Right.
do your sound check.
Right.
And
So the
get
LA
together.
guys will fly on the red eye tonight. We'll get into New York first thing in the morning, sleep a couple of hours. The Nashville guys get in midday because they're going to leave in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? And then the Orlando guy gets in a little bit after them.
Yeah. 'cause
Sound
he
check will
can,
be around
East Coast.
4 or so. And then we'll have a little bit of a break, and we have 2 shows that night.
Oh, you do? So you do an early show and a late show?
Yes.
Usually, is that normal usually you do 2 shows?
Only at those kinds of clubs.
Okay.
Like the Blue Note or
Like the
whatever.
Blue
Because
Note.
it's small enough
Yeah.
that, it only holds about 250, 300 people.
Only.
Well,
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's a small
Yeah,
venue
yeah, yeah.
for you. I know. That's so cool. I mean, do you love what you do? Because you really
Absolutely.
radiate that you do. And, and I think part of it is the attitude, the health and wellness attitude. Because when I first met you, 2014 or 15, you were going through or you had just decided to go through and get your personal training certification.
Yes, ISSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge to do while you have a schedule like this.
Yes.
But it was important to you because you wanted.
Well, here's the thing. I had always been an athlete. I had always worked out, and I knew in my heart of hearts, what to do. But I wanted to actually have the book knowledge, and be able to say, the dietary portion of it, and just, some other things just to be like, okay, yeah, I'm on the right path.
Right.
So it was a really good thing for me to do. And then I actually trained some people here and there. So
Yeah,
that was
and
fun
you're
too.
certified to do
Yeah,
that. You can
yeah.
help people when need be, and they won't feel like, oh, he doesn't know what he's
Right.
doing. Because obviously, to look at you, you know what you're doing, and then to know that you're certified helps.
Well, one of the things you said earlier that's really, really important that I learned, and it was almost on like one of the first pages of the book, was everybody's fitness regimen and workout should be different.
And fit who you are.
Absolutely. So as a trainer, you have to assess that. You have to know what the person wants, what they're capable of, what it is you can do to help them get there. There is no cookie cutter thing that works for everybody.
And that's, I hate these programs that are like, get fit now, follow this regimen, and diet, places that people want you to follow these strict guidelines. Because my company, before I went to Balanced Life, was called Fit by Design, which is still my Facebook page. And the reason being is because there are no two people alike. I don't even care if it's your identical twin, you're still going to metabolize things differently. You still are going to process things differently. And you have to listen to that individual. And that's what I love about being a health coach, is because not everybody gets that one-on-one coaching. We're so group exercise, Orange Theory now. And, I teach spin classes. I've been doing it for 25 years. I know to understand my class, that not everybody looking at me came from the same place, is capable of the same thing. Some people have injuries that have to be considered. There's age. It's so many different variables that as a trainer, it is our responsibility to be responsible and take that into consideration to really give them the very best of the best that they personally deserve. And it's interesting because not all trainers think like you.
I know.
Yeah, right?
I know. That's why I think, training is part, obviously, wellness coach, but it's part psychology. It's
Which is
part
what you
family.
have to create.
You have to, sometimes you have to motivate people and encourage them in ways that maybe they didn't intend that day. But you have to be, you have to have enough in you to see that, to feel that, and to bring it out.
Yeah, and to also be able, even if they feel like they're the little engine that could, and they want to keep going, but to see when to pull it back.
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
I work with all ages. So my youngest client is 18. My oldest client is 87. So obviously, I have challenges among each of them. Some of them are athletes, the ones that are in their 20s, and some of them have. My 87-year-old came to me 3 months ago, not even, never worked out a day in her life. So I'm her motivator. I'm also she's like, I can do this, but I also have to be very logical about the fact her movement is very, very limited.
Right.
But she feels better than she ever has in her life. And I don't want to discourage her from doing things that she thinks she might be able to do, but it's baby steps and understanding
And
where
all
she's
of that
come
is success. You know,
Big time.
a little bit here and there, and how you feel about yourself is so important.
And it can change in an
Absolutely.
instant, especially for somebody who's never had that endorphin feeling or that feel-good feeling that comes from exercise. There's a way that we can, activate our feel-good hormones without exercising. But when you do it through exercise, when you get that blood pumping, when that brain, when you get that high that we naturally secrete that hormone, then we're living big. We don't need drugs. We don't need anything from the outside to create a feeling like that. We have within us to create it. And I love when I help people discover that, and that's big satisfaction for me. It's one of the reasons why I parlayed my being in production for so long, being a producer for so long, into health and wellness, because I realized even when I was on the set, I was kind of giving a word or two to people who were struggling. And because I already had a lot of certifications, because it was a side hustle and a hobby, I couldn't help but try to help them feel better. Just when you start to feel better and look better, then you're on a road to something, then you start doing better in everything in life, in everything. And that's really the best gift we can give somebody, is help them get there, and see that. So you find a way to get a workout in, no matter where you are. Sleep you do wherever you can, whenever you can. Let's talk about diet on the road.
Okay.
That's
a tough one.
Yeah.
Because think about it. I
work
at night.
Yeah.
And I typically don't eat much before a show. That just doesn't really work for me.
Yeah.
And you have promoters who want to take you out. So a show, let's say we're in Italy or whatever, and let's say the show starts at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And it might
typical.
be over at 11 or so, and then you're doing autographs, and now you're not leaving there till 12:30, in the morning, and then they want to take you out, and they really want to, do it
wine
up
and dine, literally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't partake.
Yeah,
at
of course.
times and
Balance.
overindulge and everything. But I do know that the more I do that, the harder it is at times to come back and really get to that good spot again.
Yeah, plus your body isn't used to digesting food late at night and that kind of heavy food if you're eating meat and potatoes and pastas. And
your body will tell on you. I guess that's what I'm really saying.
I know. We have to listen to our bodies.
Yeah. And it's not just the time of day you eat and whatnot. Now, especially as you're getting older, sugar and just things that aren't supposed to be in your gas tank anyway.
Your gas tank. I love it.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We should be Ferraris, right? And if you keep putting bad gas in a Ferrari, eventually it's going to break down.
Yeah, I compare the way they take care of their bodies kind of to the way they take care of their cars anyway. It's kind of like, well, if you're going to, people tend to take better care of their cars than they do of their bodies. And think about it, what they're putting in their car, so it runs efficiently. There's an analogy to the way what you put in your body so you run efficiently. And when you don't, your body tells you just like your car does, and you're more likely
that warning light comes on.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly. And that's the key, is listening.
Yes.
So when that happens to you, when you have those late night or overindulgence, no matter what time of day, what do you have to kind of like kick back for a day or two and get back on track?
I'm fortunate enough that I don't like the way it feels. So it's not that hard to jump right back into it.
Yeah.
And I still have a good enough metabolism that I don't find myself really in places where I'm like, oh no, I'm getting so far away from where I like to be.
Yeah.
I will say this though, as I'm saying that, so we were on tour last year in the summer, and it was a really interesting tour. I'm not going to go all into it, but let's just say I was eating at some very strange times and some very strange foods and just things of that nature. And I can honestly tell you, after that tour was over, it was the worst feeling that my body had had in years.
It took time to recover, I would think.
It did.
Because you started getting sort of a new normal of that kind of food.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I was miserable.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like I was overweight.
You're a great research study on what happens when you change things up for the worst, you know? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that guy who did Super Size Me, when he ate only junk food, and what happened to him and how he felt and how he had to... Took a while to undo that.
Yes.
You can't just...
And it's not just your body. It's your brain. It's everything. You feel foggy.
Yeah.
You know, your vision, just whatever. You just feel like, what is going on with me?
That's right. It's right. Again, listening to your body and how you take care of it is talking to, it's like yelling at you loud and clear. And if you don't heed the signs, you can get so easily into a bad habit. And then...
Or like you said, a new normal where now that becomes something that you just become comfortable with.
Yeah.
Even though you're uncomfortable. And that can be a scary thing.
I see that as a nation happening. You know, when people, like, you know, going to a high school reunion, let's say, everybody's creeped up 5 sizes. And I've stayed the same, if not smaller, you know, and it's because I have taken care of every single step of the way you've been doing. And people just allow themselves to keep getting into this new normal. I have and then they'll just get bigger clothes, you know what I mean? And just that's because I'm aging, so that's the way it happens.
Right.
I have this thing called crowding out, where you know, people like to fit in when you're like you were saying, when you're traveling, but when you're at a party, you don't want to be the one who isn't eating off the buffet, or you don't want to be the one who's doing the special order or whatever. But why not fit out? Why not be the one who, I mean, you don't have to be loud and vocal about it. You don't have to be obnoxious about it, but you can be wise about it. And you can always, you know, just do a little bit more of the vegetables and a little less of the steak and potatoes or whatever, and just crowd out the bad until suddenly you're eating the good where nobody else notices but you and how you feel.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing. So I watched a documentary. I can't remember the name of it now. But it was interesting in the sense that it was all about food. And it talked about once you start eating really good stuff, your palate starts becoming used to that and adjusting. And
studied that.
It will literally start hating that bad stuff. But just like the bad stuff, you get used to that, and that's what you crave.
That's right.
You know?
So you can go both ways, and there's the good way and the bad way to go. And we're a nation, I think, of overweight, unhealthy people, and then doctors and pharmaca come into play, and then it becomes a whole business. Keep people sick so we can stay hot, you know, so we can stay rich. It should be the opposite of that. It should be all about wellness and keep us off the drugs. And yes, we should go and get checked up or have a holistic, see a functional medicine doctor, whatever. We're all different, like we talked about earlier. Some foods are not gut healthy for some people, and some are fine for others. Those kind of things are fine to find out. But if you take care of yourself, you don't need any outside intervention to try to make you well. You're making you well.
Right.
Your body will adjust to wellness. And, and that's why, a big reason why I want to do the show with you is because you have that mindset. You live it in spite of your schedule and in spite of what you do. And it's very commendable, I think.
Well, thank you.
And inspirational, and that's what my show is about, to inspire others.
Well, let's be clear, and I'm sure you feel this way exactly as well. It does take work.
Of course.
And
I think, but again, it becomes a normal, almost like brushing your teeth. And like you said, when the taste changes of something that's bad for you, and it no longer seems like it's a reward to eat crap, because it doesn't taste good anymore, it becomes easier. You don't think of it as work. You think of it as lifestyle. Sure.
It starts with that mindset, though.
Yeah, big time.
You know, and that mindset then becomes the habit, and it takes a while for the habit to kick in.
Big time.
You know, and a lot of people start and stop. That's how I was with playing guitar.
Oh yeah.
You know,
So because
I bought a
it's
guitar
like
for
rehearsing
that, for that
Yeah.
exact reason, because I knew that I had to get the the blisters on my fingers. I needed the dexterity in my fingers. I needed to learn one chord at a time. I needed to, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
It's one little incremental step at a time.
Yeah. Big time.
And I did that on purpose because I was like, I want to
challenging.
learn. I want the challenge of it. And I don't want to have any bad habits. So I'm going to start, that way, like that.
Smart. Do you play guitar really well now?
No, I don't. Now, I bought it almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
even with
okay,
that,
so brand new.
I've started and stopped.
Yeah.
So I understand
Well,
the
time.
fitness and wellness element of it too.
Yeah.
Because if it's something you're not used to, it's very easy to make excuses. Oh, well, I'll start tomorrow.
That's
then
right.
tomorrow becomes 3 months from now.
And then before you know it, it's got cobwebs in the
Absolutely.
corner. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got it. So many
But
of
the
us do
great
that.
thing is, and again, going back to the guitar, anytime I have a little bit of success, it propels me into doing more and more and more.
Yeah.
I don't have to be proficient on it yet, but that little bit of success, just like working out, where you're like, wow, I feel stronger today, can
And that-
lead to tomorrow and the next day.
And that feeling in itself not only makes us better at what we're doing, but it's also got a health component to it to help us be healthier, period. Because it's a positivity, it's a mindset, like you said in the beginning. It's an attitude that actually is our own internal drug that makes us well, that keeps us well. It's a wellness thing of feeling good about accomplishing something. Really important. And speaking of that, because I want to get to it, because believe it or not, we've got like 8 minutes left.
What?
I know. So I want to get to the part about your solo career and what you've
Okay.
been doing the last few years, because we've been friends for a while, but in the last few years I wasn't privy. I do follow you on Instagram. We're going to talk about that, and Facebook. So I saw that you were going to Japan, is it?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about this.
Okay, this is it's all related. All of these things are the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. I grew up being really, really shy, which is one of the reasons why I started a group.
Okay. To get out in public and to challenge yourself to get over
it
that.
wasn't just that. You start a group so that there's strength in numbers. So you're not out there by yourself.
Gotcha.
You
Okay.
know? So
Of course.
few years ago, I said to myself, I want to challenge myself again musically, and all the things I want to do may not be realized within the scope of Take 6. So let me see if I'm ready to do some solo stuff. Mm-hmm. And because the group goes to Japan all the time anyway, I said, well, that'd be a great place as a proving ground for me.
Because you already have sort of a fan base
We have
there.
a fan base there, and it's far enough away that if I mess up,
Only us that are watching you on YouTube would know. Yeah.
right, exactly.
Okay.
Only the whole rest of the world
Which
watching.
is
Right.
is hundreds of thousands of people. Anyway, go
Right.
ahead.
So it's been an amazing cathartic experience because it's allowing me to grow and spread my wings and realize that you're never too old to learn new stuff and to really start blossoming.
Another big health component on the wheel of longevity to challenge yourself
Yes.
and to go work through your fears. And it's all part of, like you said, the health and wellness thing.
And here's the funny thing. So as you're saying that, I'm thinking about the fact that when we have these fears, once we start conquering them, you start realizing, wait a minute, that wasn't nearly as big as I thought.
Right.
So it's all in the mind, standing on the end
Big
of the
time.
diving board saying, I don't know if I should jump.
Can't do it. I can't do it. I can't.
Until you
Yeah.
do, and you're like, wait a minute. Oh, that was
Yeah.
so easy.
And sometimes it takes incremental
Yep.
things. You don't just dive off a cliff if you've never done that before. You do it, you go short and then go high. But it's all doable. Like you said, age does not have anything to
Nope.
do with it. You can do it,
Yeah.
which is kind of like what we titled the show today, is you can do it. Just go for it.
Yeah.
And so how does it feel to have this solo stuff?
It
How
feels
were you
cool.
received?
I'm received really well.
Yeah.
I go like twice a year, and I've been doing it now for, I guess, maybe the last 6 years or so.
Love it.
And I've tried out many new and different songs. I've tried out original songs. I've done Rat Pack songs. I've done old R&B stuff. So I'm just having a great
All
time.
a cappella.
No. I go with a band.
Oh, you go with
so
the
this is a
band.
whole other thing.
Oh, Oh, I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This is Claude McKnight doing his thing.
Okay. Do you have any albums out of
You
solo
know what?
albums?
I do. I have a solo album. It's Claude McKnight Live, and it was done in Tokyo.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of a collector's item because it's really expensive because it was like this live HD thing that I don't really sell here, but if anyone wants it, I can,
Yeah,
get
we're
it to
we're
you.
going to talk about how people can access everything, everything that you do. Okay, I'm gonna do this to you. So you can. It depends on where you're at today at this moment.
Okay.
Do we get a sound bite, a little taste of what you do?
Soundbite.
Because I've been lucky enough to hear you sing, but
It's
I don't
very
know.
clear. Our love is here to stay, not for a year, forever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, and in time they know. But oh my dear. Well, there you go.
Oh my God! Applaud, Kurt. You have to applaud that too. Yay! Thank you. I know I threw that at
You're
you.
welcome.
I kind of warned you a little bit. But anyway, I mean, your voice is so tremendous. It's
Thank
so
you.
beautiful. And what we're going to spend these last couple of minutes doing is talking about how people can find you and see where you're going to be. You know, we're live streaming. You've had a show here called Hanging with Claude.
Hanging out with Claude McKnight. That's right.
So,
Yeah.
we're live streaming all over the world, and I have listeners from all over the world. So they may want to find where you're playing live, or at least be able to find you online. So
Okay.
give us some of that, and then we're going to end with some words of wisdom.
Okay. Well, the Take Six website is www.take6.com, and that's typically where the group's tour dates are.
Okay.
We also have our tour dates on Facebook and Instagram, and it's Take Six Official.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called on Facebook and on Instagram, and that's the number 6 because people want to write SIX and it's not.
Yeah. No,
So
you're
it's-
the number
right.
6.
So
We
it's
have it
Take
up on the
Six
screen,
Official.
I think. Yeah.
And to reach me personally, I have a few Facebook pages. I have Claude McKnight, the profile page. I have Claude McKnight, the business page. I have Hanging Out with Claude McKnight.
Oh, you do?
Which is my, my old show.
Okay.
And I have a Claude McKnight YouTube channel.
Saw that.
And you can reach me on Instagram, which I use all the time, at Claudie Mac, which is CLAUDIEMAC.
Oh my God! So many ways to
So
access
many
this
ways.
very talented man. I love
Get
it.
to me, yeah.
And now you're going to leave us with some final words or thoughts, wisdom, advice, something to leave the audience in a feel-good way.
Okay. For me, I think the biggest thing is to encourage yourself. And when you can't find that, surround yourself with people who lift you up in all ways. Because wellness is a complete thing. It's not just your body. It's your mind. It's your spirituality. It's every part of you. And as long as you can be encouraged, you can get anything done.
So true. Never spoken better. I agree with you wholeheartedly, 1,000%. And I hope you guys would take that into complete advisement, because this man knows what he's talking about. And that's why I know what you're about, and that's why I wanted
And I
you
need
on
it
the
too.
show.
Don't get me wrong.
No,
Yeah.
but you're an example of someone who's surrounding themselves with the right people, staying encouraged, and we're human, and we all have low points. But what do? We know this is one moment of time. There's going to be that high point again, and we just have to give it a chance and wait and keep ourselves motivated.
Yes.
And we can do that through good self-care. So I want to remind you guys that I am a twice monthly show. I am the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. So right now we're on the fourth Tuesday. And I'm taking a little break. I'm going on vacation. And I'm actually going to Europe, to Italy, to eat some pasta, which I don't normally eat. So this is going to be me juggling. So I'm going to be down, but I'm going to be right back up here on September 24th. So join me Tuesday, September 24th, for my next live show. In the meantime, I want you to go keep doing things that keep connecting to a healthier you. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you, Claude.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.